Out the president's New Hampshire today. He's going to be talking about opioid use and other developments. Nevertheless, though, he might refer to the fact that New Hampshire really got the ball started for him. His win there, of course, in the primary set the stage for the surprising tumult where he took down 16 prominent, the best of the best in the Republican Party to go on and take the nomination. A fellow who knows that very well and watched the drama unfold was Herman Cain, the former 2012 GOP presidential candidate, now Fox News contributor, so much more, best-selling author as well. You know, Herman, I was thinking the president in New Hampshire today, even though he lost the state by a teeny bit to Hillary Clinton, this is the second time in as many weeks he has visited a state he lost. And I'm wondering what's going on there. What do you think?
Here's what I think. I think you have to throw out all of the old models and the history of what happened leading up to the presidential race. And with all due respect to Bob, your previous guest, one of us is going to be right after the first Tuesday in November. Yeah. I think there's a 60-40 chance that the Republicans are going to maintain control of the House. Here's why. This president has, one, reshuffled the deck. Number two, people are feeling the impact of the tax plan in their checks. And when you have more crumbs to take home, you don't forget about that. And so I just don't believe that all of the old models and all of the old predictions will apply. Now, similarly for New Hampshire, I think it's a whole new day. The biggest challenge that the president has, all Republicans have, all conservatives have, their biggest challenge is to get the positive message out there about the results of this president and not all of the noise that the Democrats want to try and create.
So what would do that? What would make that prediction happen?
First, the RNC, Republican National Committee, with all due respect, they need to kick it up a notch, as Emeril Lagasse used to say, in terms of messaging, in terms of putting out the template for the message of the Republican Party. Look, you have so many things that you can talk about as part of your message, but you can't wait for 245 Republicans in the House to figure it out, or 51 senators in the Senate. No, it needs to come from a centralized source, and that source needs to be the Republican National Committee. The messages, the results are there. It's up to the Republicans and the conservatives to communicate those results and that message.
You know, we're down about 40 to 50 points of the Dow right now. How much of a factor are the markets and the whipsawing that we've seen from what was an inexorable run-up prior, do you think, on voters' minds?
I don't think it's on voters' minds that much, as long as it doesn't take a huge dip. Remember, this run-up started at about 18,000 with the Dow, and now it's over 24,000, and so I see 300 or 400 points a day as normal volatility. If all of a sudden the market starts to drop below 20,000, then it might be more on the minds of a lot of people. I happen to believe that a lot of day traders, with all due respect, they're the ones that's driving this volatility. But the average investor who has a retirement plan of any sorts, they're looking at what they have today versus what they had last year, not what's happening day to day.
When you were in the business world, did you focus a lot on how stocks were doing, even when you were running as a candidate, how stocks were doing?
No, I did not. I focus on more of the long-term trends for the few stocks that I followed. I used to follow the Dow. I followed the stocks of all of the boards that I served on, because I happened to have served on some boards that really represented a nice picture of this total economy. So when they started to show huge declines, then I would get concerned. But no, I didn't focus on the individual market on a day-to-day basis, although a lot of people do, because this is their primary method or means for trying to keep track of whether they're making any money or losing any money. I have to go to work every day.
Wow. I mean, I guess you needn't add to the fact that that's what we do for a living here, but that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. Herman, thank you very, very much.